Welcome everyone to our President's Council meeting. I'm Francis Gonzalez and my co-president, Rashmi. And so before we call to order, just waiting for more
Muted.
people.
Sorry, I was talking, but I was muted. Sorry.
We're going to go to our first thing on the agenda, which is to look at the approve the minutes. So if Rashmi, if you want to share that.
Sure. Yes. Give me. Please tell me you're looking at the minutes. Are you?
I can see them.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, and please do tell me if I'm going too slow or actually too fast, but this is from our December 21st meeting.
I know we had a request for someone who missed the December meeting and wanted minutes to be sent to them, but unfortunately, we can't send these minutes until they have been approved. So Esther's recording the meeting now, and I believe it gets put up on the website. So if you've missed the meeting, you can always go back to the website, the President's Council website, and look up the link and just see the highlights, or skip through the video to moments where you can get information.
That is correct. You could go ahead and find the link. You could go ahead and go to the District 25 webpage and you would see the most recent meeting always on top.
It looks good to me.
Okay, can I get a motion for someone to approve the minutes?
Guys, I was trying to figure out, hi, it's Christine. I'll make a motion with one correction. If you could correct Dr. Mike's name, I think it should say Dr. Deltona, not Dr. Mike in the minutes.
Thank you, Christine.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
Okay, can I get another one to second the motion with the amendment that Christine just gave?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Kristen?
Okay, perfect. I'll
Anyone?
send it to.
Okay. Anyone object to the minutes? No
We
object?
already approved it. So
Okay.
it's done.
Minutes have
Yeah.
been approved. Okay, so this meeting, we're just gonna gear towards a little bit about the virtual. It seems that, many PTAs want to go out and do fundraising events, and the question has arisen of why should we fundraise? Well, our schools and our students always need things, right? Whether it's supplies, whether it's assemblies, or whatever the case may be. That is, mostly what the PTA does to support the school, is to raise funds so that we can give back to the students in ways that maybe the school can't for budget reasons. So this year, there's a couple of things. With graduations coming up and picture days, a lot of schools want to know, can they have picture day, and can they go in? Well, we're recommending everything to be virtual. And I know that it may not be, the answer everyone wants to hear, but right now where we stand with our schools opening and our schools closing, we need to come up with a safe way for everyone to feel safe, and especially our district, and to still give the children back. So one of the things we were discussing is what can we give virtually back to our students. And so one of the things that when I first came into my PTA, there was a position called programming, right? And at first I didn't know what it was. And it was the person who brought in all the programs to the school, whether it was assemblies, they have in-house residencies where you can actually hire, if your school doesn't have an art department or art teacher, you can actually hire an art teacher to come in once a week for several sessions and teach the kids art. And sometimes it can be put into the curriculum. We also brought in assemblies, we brought in, whatever we can bring into the students is endless. So I understand, I didn't know that. I thought programming happened in every school, but I guess they call it different things. But in my school, which is 209, we are very huge on programming. And I can give you an example where we started, I started with a $7,000 budget. And as the programs came into the school, it was so well received that now our budget allotted to programming was now 25,000. So it's very important. So we wanted to bring a little sample of what, it's very difficult now because a lot of people have not transitioned into the virtual world. So there are a lot of assemblies that we've already contracted with, and they not doing anything virtual, or if they are saying they are, we don't know what it looks like. So there are some people that are doing things virtual, and we actually have a sample of that today, which Rashmi is going to introduce. And again, it could be anywhere from music, dance, language, whatever it is. But at this point, our choices are not that many, right? Because not everyone's doing things virtually. And also when you bring in programming, you bring in the program, you work together with the school to see what will work with the school, what will work with your dynamics of the school, right? And then you put it all together. So it's going to be with financing, the school, and when you're going to put it, and the timing, and each school is different. So I just wanted to put it out there. Programming is very important, and we cannot do it obviously without money. So tonight we're going to talk about different ways to fundraise virtually that some of our parents are doing, and we want to just showcase them tonight. And please, if you have anything that you're doing, please share it with us, because at this point we're reinventing the wheel, right? And we always heard that term, don't reinvent the wheel, but this time we have to. And so the way we do that is to share best practices. So right now we're going to go into our guest, because he's all the way from London. I believe it's almost 1 a.m. over there. So we want to just get him to finish his sample, and he'll introduce what kind of art form he does. And again, this is just a sample of what programming would be if this, for the children. And I just want to be clear that although parents always want these, everything to be straight up coding or educational, the kids just want to have fun, right? And right now we want to gear it towards making the children happy during this pandemic. So this is one of the ways, is just thinking outside the box and exposing them to a new art form. So Rashmi, take it away.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I was introduced. Okay, great. So he is Danny. He does beatboxing. That's one of his expertise, subject matter expert. I'll let him take the floor for a few minutes. And he is from London. As we are looking into different forms of programming, he has been doing online for quite number of years, I believe, and or months, I should say. So he's very good at it. He understands how to articulate online a platform going from in person. So I'll let him speak. Like Francis was saying, he's from London, so he will not take more than few minutes of our time. Just introduce himself, see what he's doing in London with the kids, and he does have some clients in US. So go ahead, Danny.
Hey guys, It's a pleasure to meet you all. Thanks for having me on. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, awesome stuff. Okay, so I'll just introduce myself quickly. So my name's Danny Ladwer, and I run an organization which has been running for the last 2 years called School of Beatbox. And you can guess what we do. So basically, I started beatboxing when I was 11 years old. And, at the time I had actually a stutter, stammer. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? So yeah, when I was about 8, I kind of developed this speech issue, and beatboxing for me, when that came around, it was like around the same time. But when I kind of got into beatboxing, it gave me this incredible amount of confidence. I found that I could use my voice in a way and express myself creatively, in a way that I just wasn't able to, I wasn't finding, through normal speech. So obviously my stammer and stutter is completely gone now. But beatboxing for me has always been something really, 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 really special. And so my mission when I set up School of Beatbox, this so many years later, obviously I said that I started when I was 11, has been to really try and engage young people and share that kind of that passion and all of the experience that I've gained over the years. So now I'm a recording and touring artist, also a UK Beatbox Championship beatboxer, and so this is kind of what I do, and it's just like the beatboxing has been an element that I've brought into schools, and also teaching people one to one. So it's not only young people, I've been teaching adults as well. And there's just been so many different levels of benefits that I've found in my sessions. One of the main ones is, the boost in self-esteem and confidence. That always seems to be something that always seems to happen. And that's just awesome. People coming into a room, there's a level playing field where you're learning a skill that not many people have had kind of professional training in, or actually walked into a session where they've gone, right, we're going to learn beatboxing for this hour or whatever. And just to see that kind of limitations in young people's minds when they enter the space, and to see the transformation that happens at the point when they leave, is just incredible. So basically, yeah, also listening skills, coordination, because when we're beatboxing, we're using different parts of our body as well. So we're using obviously our mouths, but also we've got to think as well, because we've got to keep the timing going. So it's great for keeping rhythm, keeping timing, but also we've got to think about our breathing and all these types of things. I'll just do a little demonstration now. So if you guys don't know what beatboxing, of course you know what beatboxing is. You guys are most of you in New York right now, right? You're all in New York, right? Come on, this is the birthplace of beatboxing. Come on. What's up? So there's a little bit of a little sample of the beats and things. So when we bring it into the classroom with kids, it's not only about making sounds. Beatboxing, people see beatboxing as just like, oh, it's just about making crazy sounds. And yes, there's loads of wild and wonderful sounds that we can create just using our bodies and our voices. But it's also about learning about music. It's learning about music and how the different genres of music, how the different styles of music, how they all work, and how all the different timings and structures of different genres and styles work, and how we can find melodies that go over our beats and things like this. And also it's a lot to do with trust, because when we're beatboxing, are we're visualizing a lot. So we have to really I hope this makes sense. So basically, you know, you have to listen to the sound that you can hear inside your head. And then what we're doing is we are, you know, producing that sound. So we can all hear music in our head. If you think about it right now in this moment and you think about a song, you can probably hear it, like kind of, right? You can kind of hear it. There's a way that we can hear music in our heads without, you know, without the need for, you know, playing it from our phone or a speaker. And that's the type of thing. It's this kind of level of trust that we have. And this is kind of what I teach when I'm working with children. It's like we have to kind of trust the sound that we have inside our head. Like what melody are you feeling right now? Like what notes can you hear? Mm, 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 whatever it is, you know, it's just like, okay, let's just take 2 notes, let's take 3 notes, and we build something. We build something that brings people together. We build something that is something that we can celebrate and really enjoy. So that's what these sessions are all about. If you have a moment, I can just read out a couple of testimonials if that's useful. I'll just read this one out. So my son has been attending Danny's beatbox lessons via Zoom from Torrington, Charlotte, United States for many weeks now and absolutely loves it. He looks forward to it every week. He has so much fun learning this new skill, and Danny includes every single child and interacts with everyone while each child is given opportunity to ask questions and perform their own beats. We both love it so much and couldn't be happier with these classes. I feel like I'm blowing my own trumpet right now, but it's you know, it's really rewarding for me to hear that kind of reward, because I know what beatboxing gave to me as a child, and to be able to give that back in the classroom or virtually, obviously, as we have to do now, is a magical thing. There's another one here. This was I set up these weekly sessions during lockdown, the first lockdown. So I ran like 16 sessions of free beatbox sessions because my heart was just pouring out to all the kids that just needed to be engaged and have some fun. And this is one of the nicest testimonials that I received. It was one of the first ones that I received during that which was hey Danny, I just wanted to say thank you so there are actually 3 so's there. so much for yesterday's class. You honestly have no idea how incredibly appreciated it was. Belle and Frankie haven't smiled like that for weeks. We're all feeling the strain of living on top of each other in the flat. They're feeling sad, and I'm worried about them feeling sad, along with all the rest of it. But yesterday they smiled. Your beatbox class was pure magic. Thank you so much. So,
Hey, Danny.
yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why, you know, because I was the one who found Danny because I Googled a lot of different programming, and we're trying to look for programs that doesn't need too many materials, right? And so the kids have a
Right.
mouth, right? They have the ears, they have the nose, they have everything that they need. They are their instrument, and that was one of the reasons why we were so drawn to beatboxing, because we said, you know, this is a new art form and they have everything they need already. We don't have to drop
Right.
anything off. We don't have to pick anything up and figure out, you know, appointment times. So thank you for doing this virtually, and thank you for learning this art form so that you can pass it along, because I know it's not easy. So if anyone has any questions for Danny before he goes, because I know it's late,
Sure.
and I want to
Please.
thank
Yeah.
you again for, you know, taking the time tonight to come and talk to us. Does anyone have any questions?
Danny, that was dope, man. That was really good.
Oh, thanks, man.
I used to do breakdancing as a kid, so
Oh,
help me.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
That is another art form that I would love to do, love to be able to do. You know what? I always end up top rocking. I always end up top rocking, and I just kind of pretend that I'm just about to pull out this dope move, and then I'm like, right, I'll leave you guys to do it.
Christine,
That's
can
it.
I
Your
say,
contact
Christine?
info.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, your contact info is available.
Yeah,
We
for
will,
sure, for sure.
yeah, we will
I'm
share
sure.
his, Danny, we will share your contact information for all the executive board members.
There we
We'll
go.
forward the information
Or
because we
you,
have
yeah,
it.
or you can, if you could see the chat, you could just put your website.
Right. You can just put your website on the chat.
Sure.
Christine Caniglio has a question.
Hi, I just wanted to know how your pricing worked and how, what would be the platform that you would, how it would work with the, the PTAs?
Is that question to me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Hi. Sorry, I can't see who's speaking. Who's speaking?
Oh, sorry, I have my camera off.
Oh, is that
I
okay?
could-
No worries. No worries.
I could put it on. I just have a lot of people walking around behind me. Full house right now,
That's-
lots of kids
That's no worries.
moving.
That's no worries. The pricing thing is something that I'm still in discussion with. I've been talking with Rashmi and her school, and it's something that we're kind of working out. So the idea was kind of like to do, to make it as a program, and obviously that's dependent on number of children and and how long we want the kind of program to run and how many sessions, how regular, all these types of things. But what I can say is that the programs are so much better because I've done a lot of one day or one session, 1 hour kind of workshops, and they're all great, these kind of taster sessions. But when we are able to run like a real program, there's so much more benefit because you just learn so much more that you can really there's a real progression through kind of learning the basic beats, learning the different sounds, and the rest of it. So
We just
that
want,
doesn't give you
we just want to know if you're affordable. You know what I mean? That's what the PTAs.
Well,
want.
that,
If
that's
you're
what I'm,
flexible.
right.
right. So what I'm trying to just trying to ascertain here is that, so not every PTA is going to be, you would be looking to utilize you as a program within the school, and more along the lines of maybe if a PTA was going to do it, it would be more along the lines of a 1 hour clinic to try to get the kids enticed.
Sure.
Not all schools, not PTAs and not all schools are going to be interested in a programming portion of it. And then like, I just know that there's issues with vending, whether you're a vendor for DOE, as far as using you for a programming. So that's what I'm just trying to understand.
So
Sure.
Christine, for PTA purpose, and then we can, he's just one of the examples of this but for PTA purpose, you don't need a DOE vendor. For CEC, you need a DOE vendor.
I'm not comparing it to CEC. You're
No,
talking
I'm saying
about
for,
I understand for PTA, but you're talking about programming within the school. So
oh
that's
no, so
what I'm trying
that's
to
what,
understand. I am aware.
so that's what he said in the school, but I think he didn't mean during the school hours. He was just programming. Word is used in a very abstract form. It could be just 1 hour session. It could be something that kids want. We can introduce that as a part of virtual graduation. It's like, oh, it's something, let's just
Sure.
have fun, do this. So that's what it is. It's not and again, it will be in discretion of the school if it can be done and how it can be done, if any. So at this point, I mean, when we come across other vendors who are doing really good online thing, we would love to share it with everybody so everybody can understand. And again, if all of you or any of you have some things that you are looking at it, and share it with us. So it's all about us getting information and sharing with the rest of you guys.
And this is like because Danny's from London, so we don't often get people from the other side of the world to come to our side of the world. So those issues we definitely have to look at, but it'll be a little different when you bring in someone international. I guess I don't see any more questions. Thank you, Danny. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thanks
you,
for having
Danny.
me again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for staying up.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's all
that
right.
beat bopping was
I'm
really
in.
cool.
Yeah, enjoy. Cool. Maybe you can attend one of the sessions and yeah, we'll get a little jam going. It's all good, guys. I'm in kind of night owl mode now, so it's all good. Yeah, it's a pleasure, guys. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank
for
you.
your time. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
take care. Take
Have a
care.
Back to you, Francis.
Okay, so I see superintendent's report.
Mhm.
Danielle?
Okay, did Danny leave?
Oh.
Yeah.
Danny,
So Francis, I do need to correct you because beatboxing is not a new art form because I used to do it when I was younger. Um,
The
it's a
secrets
very
of the
interesting-
superintendent.
and John, I want to let you know that my husband was a break dancer. That's why I married him.
Wow.
Whoa.
And when I was a teacher, he always used to come and teach the kids breakdancing. So
I thought you were gonna start breaking.
Oh my God, Mr. Mingo, you gotta
I
beatbox.
know. Show us the beatboxing.
no.
Come on.
Not give us an
Do it.
example.
You should hear it. You should go ahead.
It's all about his street lessons. So
Well,
listen, now that we have a dad, because my husband refuses to break dance anymore unless we're at a wedding and we put a lot of drinks in him. But I think it's always a beautiful art form for kids to see. You know, it's just a
Oh,
different.
I told you,
favorite dance
Danielle, I mean, it's a new art form for the kids now because if they don't
Right,
know about it,
and-
but you're right, it's been
Right.
around for a very long time.
But I always love dads that say that they used to break dance, and moms out there too. So if you are, we should, get together and put a crew.
When I dance like a carrot stick.
Can you imagine?
Yeah,
Thing is that I don't break
No,
dance, but I dance. I don't break
Wait.
dance, but I dance like a carrot stick. So my dancing is automatically a break dancing because when I'm dancing, I feel like there's one carrot that's going beyond the whole.
Breakdancing nowadays is really breaking something,
Yeah, it's true, right?
like me.
That's what it is for me now.
No
I
more,
was like, oh.
You know what?
not the 80s anymore.
But let me
Well,
tell
and
I can do all the moves with my head.
I catch him every once in a while, like starting to move, and I'm like, "See, you can still do it. I know." But yeah, it is it is about using your resources, and like I said, one of the things that we also talk a lot about is how we have, I was very interested to have a conversation with Francis about programming. And I do think it was kind of semantics because I didn't know. I was like, what is that? But I think it's a good mix to have outside vendors, but also really look at some of the things that we have to offer beyond career day, right? So, in terms of my own children, I was always asked to speak at career day. And I was like, hey, why aren't you asking his father to come and teach breakdancing, when he was younger? But so that's part of maybe something that you guys want to think about in terms of PTAs, like surveying parents to see if there's things that, they can do that they would love to share and kind of do with the kids through the PTA. Just an idea to think about.
We have a few former break dancers here. We're getting a lot in the chat.
Right, you play at your own risk.
Who knew, right?
We could just start off.
Ooh, look at
Apparently, including Francis.
You guys don't want to see me dance. You're gonna run.
Uh-oh,
There
expert got
you
up.
go. Former breakdancer. Desiree, see where you go.
Throw me in the mix, but I do have an award from LA, so watch out.
All right, I think we have enough people to actually have a battle. All right, so
We should do that. And then,
Yeah.
do it on a Zoom and then, like go like this and then start the other video.
I'd like to see that. That would be.
so just a few things that Francis and I talked about when we had a lengthy discussion on programming is that it's really important that whenever, if you choose, which is very different, right? So every school does these things differently. I was telling Francis the story when I was the assistant principal at IS 25, I was in charge of programming, right? So sometimes schools have staff members in charge of programming, and then we find things and we approach the PTA in a way where we ask them to fund certain things like small classes or assemblies or whatever that is. And then some schools, like Francis's school, they have a subcommittee within their PTA that does programming. And so what Francis has showed an example of how she researches different things and brings them to the school. And I think sometimes there's benefits in that as well, because I may not have looked all the way to London, you know, for resources and programs for schools while I was working as an assistant principal. So the important thing is that as PTAs that you make a decision around what those things were going to look like and what your systems will be in terms of, are you going to work alongside a staff member? Are you going to work independently? But at the end of the day, one of the most important things to think about is presenting that to your principal, right? And really talking to your principal about how much involvement you are going to have in programming and what that should look like. And then B, what the approval process looks like. So really important for everyone to know. And I'm sure a lot of our, you know, more seasoned PTA presidents know is that anytime you're going to do something in the school during the day, you need principal approval, right? So whether or not you go vendor, if a vendor doesn't have a vendor number and the PTA does something different, you do need principal approval. Now, the second thing that I want to tell you is we get into the weeds of this, where it also includes if you ask, or if your current system is having the principal disseminate flyers for you, right? Because, you know, one of the conversations that I had with Francis is everything is traced back to the principal, right? So if something goes wrong, the question that the PTA will be asked is, did the principal know and did the principal approve it, right? So, so where you may hear somebody say the PTA doesn't have to use a vendor, very similarly to the way the DOE does, right? Or the CEC does, that still doesn't mean that you should hire people and not talk to your principal about that, right? So right now, and something that I was going to save till the end, but I'm going to talk about now, but it's now more important than ever, PTA boards, that you schedule consistent meetings with your principal. You know, I think back to myself when I was a principal, my PTA president was in and out of my office, you know, at 8 o'clock in the morning when she would be dropping the kids off, and then she'd go to work, and then she'd come back at, you know, 4 PM and speak to me again, or like she was constantly in and out. And that's how we shared a lot of what was happening. We saw each other all the time. We saw each other at arrival. We saw each other at dismissal. So now that doesn't often happen, right? Because there's so many things going on. For the most part, a lot of our schools are virtual. So make sure that if you don't have consistent meeting times, that you do that you email the principal and basically say, like, we just want to make sure that we're touching base in the right way so we can ask all of the questions that you know, come to us from parents, right? And I'm going to get to some of them right now, because I saw a few of them that were in the chat. So, you know, principals get new information minute by minute, and that's why it's really important that you're connecting with
I know, I'm coming. I'm sorry. I have to go. I took my cat just had a seizure. I have to take him.
Yeah, we gotta go now.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Hi, John. Hope everything works out.
Yeah, and it's recorded if you want to go back and watch it later.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you, John.
So I just wanted to interject, Danielle, that we often brought in, even to our SLTs, some of the programming, like for example, our in-house programming, where we wanted to bring in a performance art program for 3rd and 5th grade. We had many talks with the SLT just to even think of how to implement that. And so sometimes, you know, depending on how big the program you want to bring into the school, sometimes even the SLT gets involved. So it's just
and you know what, Francis, I think that's great, because what SLTs and schools constantly strive to do is look for evidence that supports their school goals, right? So if there's anything that you guys are doing, and I know you said the arts, schools have goals about the arts or STEM or, you know, any kind of additional writing or poetry workshop, anything that can be connected in some way as an activity, by all means, you guys should be presenting that to the SLT to get their feedback, but also to use that in what the school uses, which is their CEP, to sort of drive their instructional goals and mission and vision for the year, right? So I think that's a great idea.
So Danielle, you're right. So the programming for like programming the word, all these things are very new to our school. So tomorrow we are having a board meeting with our principal. So we're going to like, we have all the information collected together. And so we're going to present it to her, and then we can just brainstorm with her what can and cannot be done after we have done our research and legwork to collect all the data. So it's funny you said that, because when we were not virtual, I did it what you used to do. Drop off my kids in the morning at 7:30, have a quick meeting with the principal, then update my board. So I saw her at least 2 to 3 times a week, if not more. So we were in constant talk with what was going on, what was happening, not happening. And being in the virtual environment, there are things that are missed in hindsight. And like, no, not in purpose, but, you know, scheduling a meeting, carving the half an hour time when everybody has different agenda, different things going on, has become harder. So you are right in saying that have a time carved no matter what, even if it's for 15 minutes, just keep meeting, keep updating, because that's how it will, the work process will get smoother. So I'm glad you said that. And just to put that out there, that yes, we are actually meeting with our principal tomorrow, the board, and we put a really good plan in terms of getting all the due diligence from our end to her and for her. And only after she looks at it, if there's something that we have missed, and then only after we talk to her, we know how and if we can implement all these different vendors. So I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad that we are doing the right thing.
And I just want to be clear that when I reached out to schools of Beatbox, I reached out to several, and Danny was the only one who wrote back. And so that was the reason why we spoke to Danny. So it's another thing, like I'll give you an example. In our school, we're trying to find an arts. We actually put out a survey to our students, just the students. We didn't send it out to the parents. We sent it out to the students because we wanted the students to choose. We wanted to see what they wanted to see during this pandemic, right? Because our parents, they'll choose coding, right? They'll choose math, ELA. And you know what? The kids are tired of that. They want to do something different. We want to give them something else and distract them a little bit away from the work because they work so hard. So we gave it to the kids. And in our school, and every school is different. Our school, they wanted language, to learn a language, to arts and crafts, and theater. Those are the 3. So we're looking into that. And I have to say, I've called several art studios, and most of them are not virtual. So I'm in talks now with the acting studio in Manhattan, and they do have virtual programming. So I'm in the process of getting that information. And once I gather all that information, then we have to bring it back to the PTA, right? And we discuss, or maybe the little kids, we might do Alley Pond, right? Because they're smaller. And maybe but regardless, if we do art for the whole school, obviously what they're drawing in 5th grade is going to be different from what they're drawing in kindergarten, right? But it all depends on how much and how many students can fit in a class. Then there's going to be materials. So, but the thing is, it's a lot of research, and sometimes we have to see what's available right now during this virtual world. I see some questions. Christine, can you?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, you should speak to Michelle Weintraub. I see she's on. Michelle is a fantastic art teacher who does art on the side. And if you saw some of the work that she does, she recently brought back street art, street graffiti to her school. And it's amazing. So I think you should use resources we have right here in District 25. Michelle,
Well, we're definitely looking into our local businesses here.
well, here's somebody right here on the meeting. She's right here on the meeting.
Also, MAFTA in the materials for the arts in Long Island City. They are a New York City DOE vendor. They offer free supplies to parents, children, and DOE employees. to do arts and craft projects with. They also have a virtual component of it, and PTAs can use some of their money to bring that into their schools as well.
Can you
So I
put that
know,
in the chat just so other parents can look it up? Because this
So you-
is what we need. And this is why Rashmi and I and our board, rest of our board wanted to talk about this so that people can bring in the stuff that they're using. So we can kind of share our thoughts and kind of, you know, be able to provide something this year for the children. And you know, the thing is, when you bring in someone in, right, you can easily accommodate 400 students in one assembly, but now it's not like that. And you end up paying even more money because you have to make these subgroups. So when it comes to fundraising, when people ask, why are you still fundraising during a pandemic? Because things cost more money and we have to pay for it. You know, we can't put that pressure on the schools when they have their own things to pay for. Let me just.
And Francis, what you were saying before, I think is really, you know, our virtual world and just in terms of being creative, the same way you said that you were asking the students, any of these vendors that would be presenting, maybe you guys could put stuff together and just organize and then show the kids all the different things and let them pick, right? They can vote. There's a lot of easy ways that you can vote virtually and just allow your kids to select what kind of programming they want in the school as well. I mean, just take like little bits and pieces of each of the vendors that you are thinking about working at in your school.
We found, Danielle, a language, and it costs $850 for 1 hour session for 10 students. So we calculated it for our students. It came out to like $60,000. Like, well, that's not going to work. You see, so even though we did the survey and we did when the information comes back, that's when you realize that, well, that's not going to work. Or how else can we do this? So it makes us parents think outside the box, and it's just not an easy process. We're already in January and we're still, you know, looking for ways to give something back. So it might come down
Just
to
just a couple of other things to keep in mind. So, you know, we talked about, and I reiterate that like any of these things that you're looking at should be discussed with your principal, right? And then, you know, I know that in the beginning we said that you can hire teachers. So I've worked with some PTAs who've been interested in hiring teachers. Just so you know, if you hire a New York City teacher, there's other things that you have to pay besides the flat rate of per session. You cannot, you know, they do have a contract and you cannot negotiate with them to take less money as a PTA, or you should not do that, because I know that that's happened in the past, because per session work is pensionable. And so we just be very careful around that and speaking to principals about that work. But that's not to say, I know that you've mentioned some outside organizations that do have things like dance teachers. So you can hire teachers from a dance studio, but just know that there's fringe attached to per session, and there's additional monies that's attached to per session. So, because I know that that's come up in the past.
And I just want to, you know, just on playing, you know, devil's advocate, just for the principal side, you know, that's their livelihood. That's their job. This for us is a volunteer to be around our children and the schools and to support our schools. But if we get fired or we leave, it's not a big deal. But a principal, this is the way she makes her living, or he. So I just want to put that out there, that's why maybe you might get some resistance from a principal. You know, but I always say this, before you bring it to the principal, make sure you have a great plan, right? Because if you bring it to them, for them to figure it out, they're probably going to say no, because they have so much on their plate right now. Bring it to your PTA, talk about it, dissect it, figure if every angle, it's like playing chess, if every angle it's going to work, and then give them a really good plan so they have to say yes, right? Why would they say no? But if you don't have it that way, you might get a no. So
just know, I mean, we think about it, you guys work together. That's really what this is about.
Exactly. But at least
together to bring the best opportunities for our kids.
And you start off in a good start. You come in with, you know, the meat, and everyone else brings a little side dish, and you just have a good, nice potluck. Yeah. Christine, is your hand up again, or is that was from before?
No, what I just wanted to say is that, if a lot of the PTAs, the local PTAs, if you're looking for something to do to engage the children at, during a PTA type of an event, there are a lot of local businesses. We just had a chef come to our PTA meeting and give a cooking lesson. At Christmas time, we had a chef come around the holidays and a baker, and she baked cookies with the kids on a virtual Zoom. We sent the ingredients ahead of time so everybody knew what they had to make. The chef, the same thing, we sent the ingredients ahead of time. We have a local karate place that is going to do just a basic like self-defense kind of, I don't know if you call it self-defense, but like a little karate thing with the kids to teach the kids. I also have somebody that I reached out to that's willing to do Zumba stuff. So if and they're not charging us anything, they're doing it free. So I'm sure that if you speak to some of the parents within the PTA who have relationships with karate places or Zumba places or stuff like that, they might find little ways to interact with the kids for a quick little thing, So I'm just saying, reach out, think out of the box.
Yeah, and like Christine said, you want to stay in the community and give back to the businesses that are struggling right now. So think about that as well, especially in our district.
All right, so I wanted to just go through my and then I'll answer some questions because I did see some questions in the chat, but I appreciate everyone's willingness to be creative and share. I just love all the ideas that are coming from this, and I think you guys are onto something really amazing. One of the things that we keep talking about in the Department of Education and just what we're doing in the district right now is we're thinking about like some of the things that are going really well, some of the things we want to capture and keep during this pandemic. And this might be one of them, right? So how we can still do things virtually. So we're reaching all children and not just kids that can come to events, and what a blended kind of environment of programming can look like. So thank you guys for opening that up. And I will speak to fundraising and some end of year activities because I know that is a question and I want to address that with you guys. But I do want to go over some important information right now. So everybody knows the Shazat is this week in schools. It is being held in your child's middle school, January 27th. Today, you should be able to print your ticket for entry. If you cannot, please contact your school. I know that your schools have informed all of you of instructions of what arrival and dismissal looks like, and any information that students will need. But please send a blast out, especially this is really just for middle schools, but for parents that may have any questions, it's really important that they do outreach to their schools in advance so they have all the information that they need in order for their child to successfully take that test. The next piece is, so DPAC elections are also on the 27th. Thank you for Esther and Christine for getting that together. And a big thank you to all our Title I PTAs who helped us get PAC reps. So we're really excited to continue this work with our PACs across the year. Next is promotion and doubt. And this is always something that comes up. And I'm sure that parents may ask you guys about promotion and doubt. So one of the things that I think is really important for parents to know, and I know it's going to be a sensitive issue this year if we get promotion and doubt, and that's what I'm trying to really open the conversation about. So the first thing that I'm going to suggest to you is that during one of those meetings that you plan with your principals, that you ask to have somebody from the administrative cabinet or the instructional team to come and speak to the community about promotion and doubt, because I think parents don't really have this clear understanding of what promotion and doubt letters are supposed to mean. So we know that we have promotional criteria. That promotional criteria is that towards the end of the school year, with a benchmark during this time, schools should be measuring where a child is along the trajectory of meeting grade level standards. With that information, which should be made clear to the community, which is one of the reasons why I'm suggesting that you guys ask your principal to have somebody come and speak to promotion and doubt. with that information, whatever they're using to benchmark, that should be made clear to parents, because if a school is saying that a child is promotion in doubt, they're saying that right now they are struggling with meeting the standards necessary in order to move on to the next grade. What that letter is supposed to flag is not an argument between parents and the school. It sometimes does, right? So I'm trying to ask parent leaders to sort of support your community if that comes to you. That letter is mandated from Central. It is a form letter that comes from Central. And so it's supposed to spark a conversation where a parent and the school get together and say, Danielle is struggling in this area. We're going to do this between now and the end of the school year to try to get her back on track. So that is the conversation that promotion in doubt letters are supposed to spark. Sometimes that does not happen because I think it's a misunderstanding. And it's on both parts. Sometimes I don't think schools communicate it in ways that they do. And I'm working with schools to make sure, especially this year, that parents have a clear understanding of why we're looking at that. We do know that there are learning lags that are present because of the changes that have happened just in instruction that our students are getting used to. A learning lag by no means should spark a promotion in doubt, right? I fall behind sometimes and I can take that time to catch up. And that's what we're working on as a district, to make sure that our students have access to all of that so they can catch up and we can close those learning gaps. But promotion in doubt is something very different. So those letters, starting February 1st, schools will be sending letters home to parents, and families should receive them by February 11th. So if your PTA is between now and February 11th, please speak to your principal about putting promotion in doubt on the agenda to make sure that parents understand that. Now, I know from being a parent of a struggling learner, promotion in doubt letters make me get like crazy, right? So it's really hard for me as a parent to be able to sit at the table and make sure that I'm getting what's the best for my child, right? But I think there needs to be this reciprocal relationship that on the superintendency end, my end, I'm going to be speaking to principals and having them speak to teachers, but it's also around a parent's end that if we fully, if we're in communication around why a certain student is struggling to meet standards, then the next question is, what do we do about it, right? And schools need to have answers to that, but parents also need to understand what that looks like, right? And how they can support that as well. So I just wanted to touch upon that because it is something around this time where Esther and Jinmei and my phones just like go crazy with promotion in doubt. And there's a real reason for it, an important reason for it, because we still have 6 months left, right? We still can work together to do RTI, and MTSS to get our students back on track. And we want to be able to do that. And we want to be able to do that in the right way. We want to be able to do it alongside our parents. Okay. So next, February 3rd. I'm really excited about this. Former English teacher. Does everybody know that February 3rd is World Read Aloud Day? When you guys are speaking after, I'm going to drop some links in the chat for you guys to go on to get some exciting ideas for you to do. They're asking you to post things. If you have a Twitter account or a Facebook account, hashtag World Read Aloud Day. Read to your kids, ask your kids to read to you, have them read to your dog, have them read to their hamster, whatever that is, grandma, anyone, read to the person in the supermarket, read to the person that does your hair, read whoever, read internationally, Francis, right? Call somebody in another country and read to them. We just want to get everybody reading. Kids don't read enough today. My own kids, I want to kill them every minute because they don't read. They're on the phone and they don't read. Right? And now they're in high school and it's really hard to get them to read. So let's all celebrate World Read Aloud Day. And I'm asking PTAs to kind of send something out, just recognizing that day, giving some suggestions, just let's get everybody reading books from different cultures, different communities. And the 2 links that I'm going to put in there gives you access to all of that. You do not have to buy a book. Don't think you have to do that. Go to the library. There's a lot of free books that you'll find online. A lot of our schools have libraries that you can have access to. Make sure that you're asking about it. So if you're meeting with your principal before February 3rd, make sure that if they have any type of access and links to free books that they're giving that to you as well. So let's all celebrate World Read Aloud. I'm going to sit with my kids and we're going to have to do it. And if anything, you can have them read that beautiful poetry from Amanda Gardner. No, is that her name? I have to get her name. I keep forgetting the poet that read aloud at the inauguration. She has beautiful work, and not just from that poem, but I've been exploring her poetry with my daughter.
Amanda Gorman.
Gorman, thank you.
You're welcome.
So there's a lot of different types of reading that we can explore. So I encourage you to do that. All right, next. Applications. Middle school applications open January 11th, and the deadline is the week of February 8th. High schools open January 18th, and the deadline is February 22nd. Please make sure you're not missing those deadlines. If you have any questions, please make sure you're reaching out to your schools.
Ms. Domingo, can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Middle applications open January 11th, and the deadline is the week of February 8th.
Okay.
And high schools open the week of January 18th, and the deadline for application is February 22nd.
Thank you.
A lot of parents have been asking us about our SP classes. I do know that it came up at President's Council, and it also came up at CEC. I am putting together something that I intend to present to you guys and at the CEC within the next couple of weeks that will talk about our proposed placement for SP. But I also want parents to understand the state of our schools, that some of our schools do not have SP classes, our middle schools, and have gone to an individualized programming model where any child that is interested in taking accelerated classes will have access to do that. So I want to be able to go over all of those different things. Today I held a meeting with our middle school principals. So I'm putting together a proposal that I'm also going to present to our executive superintendent and the chancellor to make sure that what our proposal is for looking at our SP placement is okay. Now remember, our SP classes in middle schools were not affected by the enrollment change because our SP classes, first you get into the school and then you get placed in SP. Where other districts like District 26, they placed you into a school based on gifted criteria. We have middle school choice, which is where you can apply to any school in the district. And then if the school has an SP program, there is a criteria that is district-based that all schools use for placement. So I am going to go over during our next meeting that proposal because it just has not been vetted yet. But I know that there's a lot of people that have been asking that question. I want to be able to answer that to the community. And then I was just on the line online looking at this, and the link is not up yet, but you should keep in mind, because I know a lot of our parents and students have things to say about the 2020 school experience. And the chancellor is putting out a 2020 school experience survey. And it's for children, middle school and above. It's for parents and it's for teachers. It's supposed to open. It was supposed to be open. Right now, I think they're having an issue with the link, but it's a very small window. So go online and look for the school experience survey and make sure that your parents have access to that so the chancellor and the city can see their views around the different learning models that we're experiencing during the pandemic. And that's it. So I do know that now I will take some questions from the community. One of the things that I wanted to address, and it's something that that in the conversation that I had with Francis, we talked about PTAs working with principals and being patient about end of year activities. So what I want to say is we're in a different place now because we didn't close suddenly like we did in March. And we do have opportunities for access to certain things, right? So as we said, you ask your principal, you can get into your school should you choose to get your checkbook and all those kind of things. And so we can plan things differently than we could have last year. But one of the things that I think is really important to know is that your principal only has control of having large group events with permission from the governor and the mayor and the chancellor, right? So we're asking that as PTA presidents, that you be patient for that work as this pandemic, and we hope that this pandemic is plateauing and that it will come to an end very soon. And we want more than, not even more than, the same as you guys, to be able to have these events for our students. Just so you know, is what I say, like my son is a senior in high school and he's literally had nothing, right? And he's not going to have a prom. We're hoping that he's going to have graduation. So it is a very different time for us. But, I stand behind the fact that safety comes first, and we wouldn't want to organize anything that is going to lead to community spread and people getting sick. So just know that your principals want to do this with you. Please make sure that you're having open and honest conversations with them. Please make sure, and I can't control what you guys do, but I do know that some parents did separate individual events last year. And although, I know we want to celebrate, but just make sure as a PTA board that you're not organizing that, right? Because that could be a problem. It's not that you can't participate if there's going to be smaller events planned, but I do want to say that last year there were certain events that were held that some PTAs did participate in that were not inclusive of all kids. And so I'm just cautioning you guys to be careful around that. But we're going to try our best to make sure that we can have the events that we've always had in the best way that we can. So just kind of putting all that out there for you guys to think about, and having open and honest conversations. And once again, being creative, right? So today I learned a lot of things about creative programming here. So we can be creative in the same way around preparing events for our students until the restrictions loosen up a little bit. So I'm here for any questions that you guys have.
There's a question in the chat, Danielle. From Desiree, 2 of my board members want to change positions. Is that a difficult process?
I think that's an election. You can't just switch positions. You have to, right? Don't you have to?
You have to have election.
Desiree, if you want to elaborate on what the situation is so we can help you better.
Okay, can you hear me? I'm sorry, I'm on my phone, so can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the recording secretary and the treasurer are not in love with their jobs, and one can't do the other's job, but they wanted to switch and they're being persistent about it. And I said we probably have to wait for elections. I said, but I will speak to President's Council and get guidance. So I just want.
If you want, okay, so I would say, and Danielle, correct me if I'm wrong, I would say 2 things. If they're okay with being on the PTA just in their position, they can help each other do each other's job. For example, a president can help anyone. Like if I'm the vice president, I'm in charge of counting the monies, and I can't be able to do that because I have a full-time job. Someone else on the PTA can help and do that. If they want the actual title, then you have to then notify the whole community that these 2 positions will be available. It has to be
design, right?
Opened. And then if nobody runs, so you have to have a kind of a expedited election, but it's because you'll then have a vacancy if they leave that specific position. I don't know, Danielle, if let's say they want to stay where they are and just do each other's job.
I mean, that's up to them, but I agree with what you're saying, is that you can't run for a position and then take another position.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
If you want a position, you need to resign and have an election.
I think that if you both are in agreement and you both want to stay on the PTA and just you kind of realize that I want to do your stuff and you do mine. If you want to just do it internally and switch it like that and just do each other's work and kind of meet with each other to take care of both. But if you want to be known as that treasurer and known, and then you'll have to do a reelection.
Okay, all right, thank you. I appreciate it. They were just driving me crazy and I told them it's probably not gonna be that simple.
Yes, I mean, if you think about it, the president can't run for president and say, I want to be vice president, right? Or I want to be a governor. That doesn't work like that.
That is correct.
You have to
Change my mind. I want to be.
Right. So, okay.
You also have to, I want to add something. You also have to check your bylaws. So if somebody steps down, who's going to be what succession at your school? What does it look like? They both could quit. And if there's no succession, they could both run for the position that they want. But it has to be all in the notes, in the minutes, and everything has to be clear as to what happened and why the transfer and that there was an election.
Okay, so just one more question. So if they push me to do this and torture my life, would this be an expedited election, or I would just be holding a regular election?
It wouldn't be a regular election because we only have elections once a year. It would be an expedited for 2 vacancies.
You have to make sure that you have 10 calendar days to notify your school community.
Yeah, and you have to give other people, there's a possibility other people will run and, be voted in. It just doesn't mean that they're
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And Desiree, I see you said you were getting a lot of questions on graduation. So what specifically?
Oh boy, they're just, all the parents are upset, just like all parents are upset, and I do understand that, and I try to calm them down. They're just mostly saying, is there going to be a graduation? Can we do anything? Is there, and me and Mr. Carter just keep saying, we don't know, we have to wait.
Right. Yes, and that really is, I'm coming from a place of this. Every single school, staff, principal wants to do something for kids, right? There's nobody that says, oh, this is a great opportunity to not do graduation, right? It's a highlight of our year, right? I know as a principal, every year I looked forward to graduation. So nobody's saying not to do it, but we have certain restrictions right now that we have to wait until they're lifted, right? And so we just ask that parents are patient about that and just know that some things may be different, right? Because there are certain things that you have to plan now. And this goes also to, I know a lot of you were asking for picture day, right? So I had a conversation with Rashmi and Francis about certain companies that don't do virtual picture day, right? And what that can and should look like. So that should be conversations that you have with your picture day person. So you don't feel locked into like, I have to do picture day because I need the yearbook, right? And I have to do picture day and it has to be in school because they go nowhere else, right? I have a guy asking me to rent tents. What's the difference between renting a tent and going into an auditorium? Nothing, right? So I think it's also important for you to sit down and speak to the photographer that you may have booked a contract with, to talk to them about options. And if you're having difficulty with it, then I have no problem supporting you guys and speaking to that person myself to let them know. So I will, as I said, Esther is here to support you guys in all of that, but it is about being creative and looking at different alternatives to get done so we can have the best possible experiences for our students because they deserve that. Like Francis said, they work hard, right? And they're working even harder now and differently now. So we want to make sure we get that for them. So make sure that you're communicating with your principals around what's the best way we can do this.
And, I know that a lot of photographers are probably struggling with remote pictures because obviously anything remote, if you take a picture on Zoom, it's not going to be the quality that you would with the lighting and all that. But one good thing to look at, I believe there's an app that some photographers are using. Rashmi and I had spoken to Dan from Class Act, and we're in the process of just brainstorming of what could be done in a safe way. And one of the things virtually that they do is they have the parent take a picture outdoors. The best is natural lighting, but the good thing is, when you go in to take a picture, right, you have like less than a minute and you have to pose this way, look this way, they put it down, and then you smile. At least the good thing about doing it yourself is like you can take as many pictures, right? Spend as many times and then send that one really good picture for your school. So you might actually be very happy with the picture, and then you send it to them. Now, one of the questions we asked is about what about class pictures? Like how do you put everyone together? And they do it just the actual picture that you send in, they put all the students together as like a collage, which I thought was very interesting.
I think they call it compilation or something like that.
Right, like it'll look like a Zoom meeting kind of.
Yeah, they do that a lot in the middle schools. It's a composite photo. They do that.
Because 194 has individualized programs, so we don't have like per se homerooms or class pictures anymore, I guess, especially for 8th grade. So that's what we've been doing like the past couple of years, just their school picture. Like in this sense, it will be whichever one we send in, but yeah, they'll put it together by class, which I mean, that looks great too.
Desiree, Dan said that to us too. And we said to Dan, you know, what you got to understand, a photographer is an artist, right? And if I'm an artist and I'm taking a picture of you, I don't want you to send me your own picture and then I do something with it and someone sees that picture and says, oh my God, Frances did that picture. I'll never hire her. Do you understand? So when you send your own picture, that's the chance, you know, you can't expect the pixels to be that great if it gets to be, you know, someone to send to a photographer. But there are options out there. Dan, you know, doesn't really recommend it, but what can you do if I'm a parent and I don't feel safe going anywhere, but I want my child's picture? You know, I'll send you the picture. I'm okay with sending it. I know it won't be the best quality, but at least my child's in the yearbook, right? And they have memories. So we are talking to see what other options, but I believe, I forgot the name of the app. Do you remember, Rashmi, that they mentioned that it actually goes in and then you can send it right through there to the photographer. So there's ways. We'll figure it out, but I would be very sad to hear that someone, you know, got COVID and passed away because of a picture day or because of a graduation, you know? So I think that's what nobody wants to take that risk and creating something that can lead to that. So Danielle just shared something.
Oh, I'm sharing for the World Read Aloud Day.
Oh, okay.
You want me to get the book now? Do you want me to start? Once upon a time. Yeah.
All right, guys, if you don't have any other questions for me, that's my report.
So Danielle, I have a question. In terms of promotion and doubt, so parents usually become confused, and the promotion is in doubt is just to talk and just to say, as you were saying, that your kids need help. Let's put a plan together to help them support. But let's say come June, you still get a letter promotion and doubt. Does that mean that the kid is not going to go to the next level, next grade?
So in June, you wouldn't get a promotion and doubt letter. In June, you would have already had a follow-up meeting, right? So the cycle of having discussions with families about promotion is that this is the mid-year point where schools are closely looking at where a student is aligned to the standards. So the promotion and doubt letter is a flag for that. And the push is that there is some strategic and concentrated interventions put in place so a student will show growth during that time. And actually, in May and June, when they really look to determine promotion, they look at what's called multiple measures. And that RTI is one of the things that they use to measure growth. So it is possible because remember, it's not just them saying, we want to talk to you. They're saying that there's concerns that your child's not meeting standards because at this point in the year, these are the things they have to learn, right? And they have to know, they have to be able to demonstrate an understanding of. So what they're talking about is the standards. So promotion and doubt is really saying your child is not on track for promotion aligned to the standards. So I want to be clear with that, but it's kind of what we do with that information that's important, right? It's how we get together as a school and parents and a family to really talk about how we can move that student towards showing growth so they can be promoted to the next grade.
Absolutely. I don't see any other new questions in the chat for Danielle.
I
So-
had posted a question if I can ask
Oh,
real
go ahead,
quick.
Tiffany.
Sorry. You probably don't have the answer because I always ask, but have we heard anything about the middle schools if the kids are gonna go back
Not yet.
anytime this year?
Not yet. So I know that there's a lot of rumors going around. Somebody had typed in that they said they're leaving in, we're supposed to close in May. I haven't heard anything at all like that. So
I
no.
actually, that was me. I read an article on one of the educational websites that I get, and they were talking about it on the news as well. So I was wondering if that was true too.
I'm going to escalate that because I have not heard anything like that. Or if schools will, middle schools will be closed for the remainder of the year, but we do ask at every meeting that we have. I had one this afternoon with the executive director. We asked again, there's still no information coming from City Hall.
Thank you.
Danielle,
There's another question from Romel. Will every kid be getting the promotion and doubt letter or only the ones with issues?
It's only the ones who there's concerns about the standards. But I will also say to parents, part of your conversation with your teacher, your child's teacher, is sometimes we call it like over promotion and doubt, because we would rather have those conversations if a child is borderline than to wait until April, May, and June to realize that the child is struggling and hasn't caught up. So it is only students where the school determines them to be on track for not meeting standards and therefore promotion and doubt. So if your child is doing fine, then you will not get that letter.
Okay, any other questions? I'm looking back because that was Tiffany's. Okay, thank you, Danielle. And now we're up to our bylaws draft update. Rashmi?
Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to turn my video off because my connection seems to keep going off. So I can present it. So let's just do this. So parents, as we said in last meeting, that we are going to talk about our bylaws in this one. We're going to present it, and after this presentation, we will email you this draft copy, because we can't hand you the paper copy. So this is a virtual. All right, so what we did was we took the template that is as of in current template from the DOE website, and we filled in the blanks or filled in the wordings that pertains to President Council and also that pertains to our District 25. So we'll go through it. We can spend some time on it. I'll just talk about the few highlights. We will send you the email. Please email us with your feedbacks, questions, concern, and then we will take this again in our next meeting. And this is a good way to see even for us and for all of you guys, that when we want to not just amend a portion of the bylaws, but if you want to just change the bylaws, what's the due process on it? So going further down, and again, the spinal cord of this bylaw is the template that we got from the DOE website. And please interrupt me if I'm going. Francis, please interrupt me because I cannot see anything anymore on my screen except this bylaws, okay? If I'm going too fast. So the article name, the name of the council shall be District 25 President Council, and the short form D25PC, and hereinafter referred to as the council. This is exactly almost the same what the objectives are. The additions of the wordings are highlighted in yellow. So the first one, eligibility all PAPTA presidents of the elementary and middle school in the District 25, because that's what we represent. Now, we looked into dues and donations. I know we have had in the past about donating $50 a year for all the PAPTAs, but right now, currently, and Christine, I'm going to ask you a quick question. We still have the same amount from last year, right? Like $4,000, about 4,000.
Yes, we do.
So
Our
the
current
idea,
balance is 4,019 and 57. It has not changed since our last meeting.
okay. So we went back and forth on this a lot, and we wanted to understand why the dues were collected and what is the purpose of this. And unfortunately, us being in remote platform and don't know when we will come back in a gathering kind of capacity, we decided that this is the best way to help out our community. So the first two lines are the original line that was in the old template of the bylaws. And I do have the old template that is actually from 2014. So since then, we do not have in our physical possession if the template was revised or amended. So I'm using that template as our old bylaws and amending it to the new bylaws. So these two lines that I added, I don't want to read everything. You can, it's highlighted, you can quickly look at it. Francis, should I move down up? Keep
Yeah,
going?
keep going.
Okay. Okay, then we come to the officers. And we added, again, I'm not going to specifically talk on each and every subject. It's highlighted so you can see the amendments or changes. This is the same. Treasurer. Okay, it's a non-mandatory officers. We made it to the first vice president, the corresponding secretary, and the assistant. I guess it should be an assistant, but I'll check into this. The assistant, I'll leave it. So the number 4 is a complete addition or not eligibility. We always had the candidate eligibility, but this is a new addition that is added based on the new rules or based on the most recent update that happened around PAC and PTA. And all of this are generally. Then expedited election process. This wording here is from page 2 of the virtual election guidelines for PAPTA that FACE had submitted to us last year. And this is something really important for all of us to understand, that if the council has at least one mandatory officer in place, it will not cease to function. But it should still hold expedited election because it will be filling up one or all of mandatory officer vacancies.
We have a question and I don't know the answer to this. So maybe Esther or Danielle, is the ruling still the same? If you are a New York City Department DOE employee, can you still not run for President's Council?
So
I'm trying to unmute. So I would have to double check with that, Francis. We could ask Sharon that at our next meeting. I believe the answer is no, but I want to make sure that I have it in written and form for you guys.
I think, Esther, you are correct. New York's, if you are working in District 25 and you are a parent, but even if you are a parent, you're working District 25, if you're a DOE employee, you cannot run for the President Council's board.
Because you couldn't even run for the PTA, right?
No,
No, you can run for
PTA,
PTA
You do,
in
yeah.
the school than your child is at.
Yeah.
You cannot hold a position within the district capacity within the district that you're working. You could hold a district office in a different district than you work, right? Did I say that right?
You did.
Can you guys just scroll back up?
Well, she said, that was Michelle's question. She said she doesn't work in District 25.
Right, she doesn't work in District 20.
So she can then, by what you're saying.
correct.
So I can hold a president's position on my PTA in PS 214, but I cannot run for president's council then.
But you said you don't work in District 25.
Right, I work in District 28.
So yes, you are correct. But again, you know what? All these rules and regulations are changing so often. So it's always good to make sure that we get some updates. When the time comes, just please make sure that you get the most current update or regulations. But at this
Okay, I
point,
just wanted to know if that had changed, because I know in the last couple of years, it's been that you couldn't run if you were a DOE employee, no matter what.
right, if you couldn't run a DOE employee for the same district, yes. But again, I have
District, Michelle.
right.
Can you scroll back up? You went too fast, Rashmi.
Where do you on which page?
You were talking about the Title I, the PAC.
Okay, this one.
Okay.
I don't know if was that from is that from the city's bylaws that you guys just modified?
This is
Templates.
the city's bylaws. Yes, this is the addition.
Did you
In
add
our- Yeah, I added.
Isn't that a new rule now?
No, that's
No.
a title. A PAC chairperson cannot be a PTA president. So yeah, yes, is not eligible to serve as, can't be on. In essence, you wouldn't be on the council per se,
Right.
because
Right, that's why we put that there because
But let's just say, but Francis, see, like, let's say I'm a PTA president and I don't know if there's anything that would say I can't put Michelle and say she's going to be my rep on President's Council. And
Right, that's why if she's a Title I parent advisory, she won't be able to. And that was put in because I believe that's a new rule. And if we don't put that in, how would people know that?
I don't know if that's a rule for presidents. I mean, so technically what the rule is, you cannot be the president of your PTA and a PAC member and the PAC rep. But there's nothing.
Yeah, that's the rule. You can't be PTA
Correct,
president
but-
and in the PAC.
Right, but it
That's
doesn't.
correct, but in Danielle's example, say I am the president of the PTA and for whatever reason, I make Danielle my designee and she happens to be the PAC person, she should be able to run. So I'm already asking a question.
Yeah, ask questions because I did ask Gus that question and he didn't have the answer for that. So this is the only answer he had for sure. So didn't have it. So that's a good thing for us, all of us, to look into it and find out. Yes.
I mean, you could take it off now so you can certify these and then always amend it later.
No, we can't certify this anyway. We have to certify this in next month. So we still have 1 month time to find the answer and we can take it off in next month.
All right, yeah, because I don't know if that's correct, but we'll.
Okay. So I'm glad that I highlighted the changes. So we're going to look into it. So we'll present it, we'll look into it,
Well,
have.
can a Title I parent advisory council run for president of President's Council?
Can't,
That's what we're gonna find out.
never said anything like that. All it says is that you cannot be a PAC chairperson and a PTA president.
Yeah.
But the PTA president has the option to give their seat and their to have a rep represent them at President's Council. And therefore that rep has the same authority as the president, right? So if I put if I nominate my PAC member to represent me on President's Council, then my PAC member can run for president. So that's why we need
So
Clarification,
That's some
yeah.
clarification. And if the designee can, then there will be another wording attached here that the designee can, but the actual PTA cannot, or some things. But yeah, it's good to look into it further. Okay. So going down. Going down, compositions. So the executive board shall be composed of the mandatory officer of the council as listed here. Mandatory officers are president or co-president, recording secretary and treasurer. The executive board may have non-mandatory officers, which is like first vice president, corresponding secretary, and an assistant treasurer. And all elected officers shall be expected to attend all executive board meetings. For meetings, we set it in this way, second Tuesday for now, but then we left it flexible for the upcoming or for going forward for future president council board, because it clearly says according to the schedule of active executive board members. So next term, if somebody wants to change it, they can change it, and they just have to notify. They won't have to change and amend the bylaws just because they're changing the meeting time.
Wait, can I just say, did you guys pick the second Tuesday?
We did.
Because I just want to let you know that the reason like everyone has different meeting days is so other events are not planned on those dates. So President's Council meetings are usually the second Monday or the third Monday.
Third Monday.
For a certain reason, because there's other events. So if there's going to be a citywide event, they block out that day because they know it's President's Council.
No, this is
for executive board for us to meet.
Okay. Well, the same thing. If there's going to be any kind of citywide event, it's up to you guys, but I just wanted to.
No, we still have it Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, we still have it on. That's why we picked a very odd time, just because the template asks us to pick a time. So we said this works out for our schedule for this time, and then we'll see.
Yeah, we did that also so that whoever comes in after doesn't feel that they have to meet the second Tuesday at 12.
Right, so that's why
change it according to whatever their schedules is more convenient.
Okay, going further now, again, this is let's see, we are talking about executive board right now. So this is the quorum. This is how it was. 3 members shall constitute a quorum. Decisions are made by majority vote, which is half plus 1, to give it more flexibility. I mean, I guess that's what voting is, right? It has to be majority. I don't have to put that, but
can I just add, I'm sorry.
Sure.
And I actually want to thank you guys for doing this because I haven't looked at this in a long time. But in terms of voting, you talking about voting amongst the cabinet? Because it says the council has co-presidents, each co-president has 1 vote. That's
right, I'm talking about voting for the executive board. If we are trying to do something and we are trying to vote on it. So for example, we have 4
it's just you, it's just for executive board meetings.
Yeah.
Right, executive board
Like if we wanted to change the date for the I guess the meeting, our meetings. This is just for the executive board meeting.
That's fine. Okay.
This is how the template is now.
So
Now,
just to give an update to one of the reasons why we're doing this is because we are not in the building to see our bylaws. So we know that they have to be updated. So since we told all the other schools to do it, we're gonna do it as well and now have a PDF version of it. So it's a little easier to send out.
Okay. So now for general meeting. It's the same thing, 8 council member, including minimum of 2 executive board members and 6 parent members. Now here, decisions are made by majority vote, which is the same, half plus 1. So Danielle, to answer your question on voting, even though Francis and I share a position, but we still have 2 individual votes. So tomorrow, let's say we have a quorum of exactly 8 people. Let's say there is a meeting and there is 8 people there. And if there are 3 people from the board, but my vote is still a vote in that general meeting, because so we are one
As long
position.
as yes, that is correct. But as long as you guys know that outside, like when President's Council, if Central is asking President's Council,
It's only one.
it's only one.
Right. It's only one, right.
Right.
Okay, for signatories,
And for example, if Rashmi and I could never sign a check together, because that would be considered one signature. So if
Right.
it's either she signs it, I sign it, and someone else has to sign it. So I
Right.
just want to make that clear. Sometimes we have co-treasurers or co-positions, and people think that they both in the same department can sign, and that would be considered two. And I know that often happens. I just want to put that out there, that it cannot happen like that.
thank you. And the last line is not that we changed. This is a line I think sometimes the boards get confused. For example, if in our board, if there's an expense and I give my credit card to bear that expense, and I cannot be the person who is signing a check to get me reimbursed. It has to be someone else. It has to be other 2 people. So it says at least 2 signatories, but you can have 3 to make it easy. So there's always 2 different people. One person does the expense and the other 2 signs off on it. So let's just, we should be really careful on that. Okay, expenditure. Now, this is something that was added. And then that's it. That's the end of it. So we will email this to you guys.
Hello? Hi.
Yeah.
Can I ask why you took out the line about not having emergency expenditures?
Because maybe you can help us. What kind of
Well, I don't know. I've never had, but that's always something good to leave in there, like $100, a minimum expense, because look, we had a pandemic that we did not see coming. If there was some sort of an emergency expense that President's Council needed, it would be good to at least have most PTAs have like $100 that they could spend without bringing it up to a vote. I don't know. I mean, like, God forbid, when the start of the pandemic, I don't know, I can't even think of anything offhand, you needed something to complete your business. It's like maybe you needed a printer at home to take care of your President's Council business, or something that you couldn't bring up to a vote right away. It's always good. I mean, I know you guys are saying you're not going to have it, but if you're amending the bylaws, just think that that would be a good idea to leave in that emergency expenditures clause, because you never know what could happen for a minimal amount. It could be $100, it could be $50, but to take it out and say that they're not going to have any, that's my thought.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should, I don't know what was there before, What, was there an
There wasn't
emergency?
anything there before. That's why we didn't know.
Usually there's in the template, it usually says the council, the PTA has a right to spend X amount of money without a vote before the committee.
So we
I don't
should
have-
just put that and just put, I would say, maybe not 100, like 250, up to
So,
250.
Yeah, I put in my PTA, in our PTA, and I believe in the old President's Council, it said 200, but I don't, have it in
So
front of
in
me.
our next meeting, when we are going through this bylaws and trying to adopt it, that's something that we can put and vote on it, and then we will start, go from there. So number 4 is in question, and the PAC and number 4.
Thank you, Rashmi, for doing this. You put a lot of work into this. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to save this so it is
So this
exactly.
is going to
what-
be sent out as a draft for everyone to
Yes.
look at it. And remember, it's a draft. It's just, and we're in the process of working on it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? So this is kind of the process of anybody out there who wants to update, revisit, readopt their bylaws. So this is pretty much what you would do in virtual world.
I will be sending, I will get a copy myself and I will send it to all the parent coordinators to give to the PAPTA board. In case that there's somebody that didn't attend this meeting, they also will get to see District 25 President's Council bylaws and to see that they're getting amended.
Can we just make a note in there about the proposals that's in there so that everybody sees that and it's not forgotten?
Yeah, I wrote them down, but yeah, you're right. I don't know.
Well, if we're going to send it out, if it's going to be sent to all the presidents, I just think it would be for clarity and transparency that there were proposed changes already suggested.
Okay, I'll put that on that email. Yes.
Thank you.
So the change word was only for expenditure, right? The PAC was something that we are going to look at it, and we have 1 month to look at it to see exactly what word we are going to choose for that.
Correct. I'm trying to get an answer. I already emailed one person to see if I could get the answer for that.
Okay.
And the other one is just how much amount you guys want to put as, So in the past, that amount is just, it varies from school to school. But from what I remember, my first year when Lorraine Cosner was, I don't remember exactly if it was $100, and they had to get $40 to go get something for a potluck. And they were able to get that. This was years ago. So I don't know how much money you guys would want to put on that,
I think if I remember correctly, we should bring it up like here at a general to agree upon an amount.
Right.
And then have it in there and then put it in there. Because usually like if you wanted to change the amount or whatnot, you bring it up as like an amendment to the bylaw.
Yeah.
And then the general public will have to, basically, I approve, or no, I think this is too much. It has to be less. Something like that.
Right. That's what would happen in the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the clause should be just in before it's sent out. It should be in there stating, that there's a blank amount and then take it from there. I don't think that it should be left out. I think the clause should be put back in there before it's sent to all the presidents.
I mean, do you guys think right now with this new situation, do you think that that's something that is required, or any kind of emergency expenditure we can call an emergency?
I wouldn't just think like right now. I would say like we're saying it's every 3 years, right? So we would have to think on that level, like when things get better and how things will be, like if we were to
You have to remember that these bylaws are going to be used going forward, even when you're not in office or this board is not in office anymore. So you want to make it as easy a transition possible for anybody else that might be coming in.
Right. So can I just give you an example? So like, let's say you guys decide as President's Council, you're going to run a parent event. and something happens and your treasurer is there and you like, oh, we want to get donuts and coffee. She can't spend any money. She can't do that because it's in your bylaws, right? That says that she can't do an emergency expenditure. That would be considered like an emergency expenditure. Like, we're doing this meeting and we invited parents and we don't have anything there for them. So that would be an emergency expenditure. So that like,
Yeah,
limits.
I agree. I think we just put it there for flexibility. If I told you a year ago, hey, let's put a clause in if a pandemic happens, you'd probably all look at me like I'm crazy, right?
Right, and,
here
and
we
now
are,
everybody's
so just
everybody's
put it in there.
scrambling.
Next year we might get
Also, the
this is
district,
something new, right?
also the district had an event where we asked for all the PAPTAs and President's Council to donate so we could have a big event, and it was at the Mets. I don't know, it was a very successful
No,
event.
we're never doing that again. No, we're never doing that again.
I know, but as an example, all the PAPTAs were able to donate with, because some of them had already had their meetings. So they had that clause in there and they were able to help this event be successful. And so that's why that line is so important. And even though, right now we're in a pandemic, we do got to think future. So the other boards,
What if,
I'll add it. We'll put a blank and we'll put a suggested amount, and then it can be voted on in the next meeting.
Yeah, then when we get in our first in-person meeting, the building gets closed down and we have to buy pizza for everybody.
Yeah,
That's a good emergency.
I agree with that. Our first meeting back, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna treat it food.
Well, hopefully that meeting is soon enough.
Oh
I
my
would like
God.
to see all of you in person.
All right, well, is that it for the bylaws draft update? Rashmi?
Yeah.
Okay, now we have our upcoming CEC election speaker.
Yes, Pamela is here. Pamela Johnson is working with the CEC elections that are coming up, and she's going to go ahead and introduce herself. And Pamela, thank you for being here. It's all yours.
Thank you so much. I have a very short PowerPoint presentation. I know the hour is late, and even though we're home and we have to go to work, we still have to go to work tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So is there any way I can share my screen?
I'm making you, hold on a second. I'm going to
Okay.
go ahead and, okay. I just made you co-host.
Okay. Okay, great. Hi, everybody. My name is Pamela Hamilton Johnson, and I am here from FACE. I'm a parent just like you are, a former CEC president, District 11, former CCHS president. And of course, they hire parents to talk to parents because, you are the boots on the ground, and you are parents, and you have that connection with other parents and your PCs. So what's driving this election? So 2 years ago, there was an election, and you remember back in the day, you only could have selectors, which were the president, the treasurer, and the secretary, the recording secretary. And those three were the only ones in the school building that could vote. And many parents were very upset with that because they felt that those three selectors, those three parents, their choices didn't reflect the representation that was on the CEC. So ergo, the law was changed, and now all of New York City public students, parents can vote. How do you do that? You have to create a NYCSA account. That's the NYCSA NYCSA account, which is the New York City Schools account. It is the only way that you can run for an election, and it's the only way you can vote for the representatives that you want. So one of the first things as parents, we ask you to get to know your education counselors, go to a meeting, see what the time commitment is. And if you're interested, in February, actually February 1st, which is I think is next week, is the opening of the application. And then you vote from May 1st to May 11th. Okay, so about the citywide councils, there are 32 city CECs, which are community education councils, and 4 citywides, a total of 36 altogether. The CECs have a total of 11 parents. nine parents are voted. One parent of those parents is an English language learner, and the other parent is a special education. And those two appointees that are appointed by the borough president. You do not have to have a child in the public school system to be an appointee. So CEC members, they advise on educational policies and improvements. They decide on zoning lines. They advise in co-location, and they definitely collaborate with the superintendent to improve student achievement. Now, the citywides are the Citywide Council on High Schools, which anything CC means Citywide Council. So Citywide Council for High Schools has 13 members. The Citywide Council on English Language Learners, CCELL, has 11. And oops, hold on. I almost went to the end of the slide. It was just that quick. And they CCHS has 13 appointees. Citywide Council on English Language Learners has 2 appointees. Now, the last two citywides are the Citywide Council for Special Education and the Citywide Council for District 75. And they both have 9 parents that are voted in and 2 are appointees. So how do you know which CEC you're eligible for? So Nia has a daughter, and she's in a CCSE program, special education program, and that program is in CEC 24. And she also has a child in high school. So Nia can apply for CCSE, she can apply for CEC 24, and she can apply for CCHS. She can apply for those councils. She can only sit on one. And this is the same thing with Vladimir's son, who's in the 7th grade in District 14, CEC 14, and he's an English language learner. So this parent, Vladimir, can run for CEC 14 or run for CCELL. Now, who's eligible? If you have a child from pre-K to 8th, you can run for the CEC. A child from 9th to 12th, you can run for CCHS. And if you have a child in pre-K to 12, you can run for CCSE. And the reason being is it doesn't matter for CCSE and CCELL or D75. It doesn't matter if the child is in pre-K, 8th grade, 5th grade, 11th grade. You always have that opportunity to be able to be a candidate for those councils. So I'm just going to go, and I'm almost done. The dates to remember: February 1st through February 28th. That's when the application opens up. March 15th through April 30th is the candidates forum. And what's instrumental here is that president's councils are the ones that conduct those forums. So you would have to find a date somewhere between March and April 30th to conduct your candidates forum. And there's also going to be a walkthrough with the candidates forum because it seems like it's going to be a little bit of a production this year. May 1st through May 11th is the voting. And June 26th is your orientation. The new term starts on July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2023. Now, the big push right now is that PCs are reaching out to parents to get them signed up for NICSA. Because in the beginning, I was saying that you cannot be a candidate or you cannot vote unless you are signed up. There's a big push from central executive superintendents down to the PLCs and down to the parent coordinators. Why am I talking about the parent coordinators? Because in order for you to get a NICSA account, you have to get a creation code. And that creation code comes from your parent coordinator. And the reason being is because the parent coordinator, if they know the child, can link the parent to the child. And if you are having any kind of issues, it's also with the parent coordinator. If you're having problems signing up, it's with the parent coordinator. Now, I want to say, and I want to give a big kudos to your district because you are number 4 in the city. And I think the highest is, a matter of fact, the highest, I'm sorry?
I wanted to get number 1. We'll get there.
You are. Well, let me give you the numbers. The highest is actually, I'll give it to the top 4. District 26. Queens is number 1, 3 and 2 in Manhattan, and then comes 25. So
Esther, you're fired. You're fired, Esther.
Oh, Lord. but let me tell you, but that's in the city. The highest district only has, well, they're not we don't have a district that is completely 100%. So 26 has 82%. I think you have like 60 something percent, but if you can get 60 something, you can get 80 something. I'm sure that you can do it. But it really takes an effort because there are PCs who are looking for parents who have not signed up in their school. So if you're getting calls from your PC and you really don't know why, it's probably because they want you to sign up for this Nixa account.
Let's go. Let's get this done.
Hey, I agree. So and what you can do is if they know who you are or they don't know who you are, they will ask you for verification, like your picture of your driver's license, because the last thing we want to do is link a child with the wrong parent. That's what we don't want to do. If you have two custodial parents that are on the account, so everything from ATS flows into FAM. That's the new software that we have. And if you have two parents, you can have two different, you get two different creation codes. You can have your two different accounts and you both can look at the child's information. In the Nixa account, you can get your child's IEP, you can get their report card, you can get transportation, you can get their reading level. It is a host of information in it. Now, Nixa is the same thing as my students. This is where I don't want you to get lost. There's my schools, which deals with middle schools and high schools. And then there's my students. Hopefully before the end of the year, there is a merging of the two, because there really isn't, there's so many platforms and parents are like, kind of done, they're like, I already signed up. No, you signed up for my schools. You didn't sign up for my student. So we just want you to encourage the parents to go attend a CEC meeting, talk to your other parents, and that's basically it with the presentation. If you need to ask us any questions, it's elections 2021 at schools.nyc. But before I go, I'm going to drop some parent guides, my email in the chat, so that you can, be able to have a conversation at your school. We actually do go to schools and do presentations.
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you so
you.
much. Do you have any questions for Pamela? Okay, no questions. Thank you.
I know you can do it. I know
we're gonna do it,
can
Pamela.
do it. You are number 4. That means you're only 3 spots from getting to number 1.
I'm prepping a reminder email to all our parent coordinators to push that we just got notification that we're number 4. And so we are, we always come up.
PA 2. Everybody, tell everybody to call the parent coordinator.
So if the PAPTAs here could go ahead and remind your parents on whatever chats you use at your schools, you could also help the district that way. So we're trying to, I'm sending that email right now to remind. I know that the parent coordinators at all the schools, principals and everybody are trying to get everybody signed up. Again, why? Because we want these parents to be able to vote for the upcoming elections for CEC, the Community Education Council. We have 2 members here, Christine and Rashmead, that have sat on the CEC. Elections are coming up. And remember, if you're a parent, you could run. So we also need parents to run. So if you guys could spread the word, help us out. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pamela.
Actually, there's 4 members of the CEC that are here.
Oh, really? Who did I miss?
Brooke is here and Anne-Marie is here as well.
Hi there.
I didn't see your faces. I didn't see the names.
Sorry,
Yes.
I'm signed in under my son's name.
I wouldn't have known. Okay, well, welcome, ladies. Thank you for being here. Yes, 4 members of CEC.
Pamela, I have a question. I don't have a question. Can you just clarify for the rest of the parent body in terms of voting? Because CEC voting is a little different when a parent is voting to be a part of PAPTA.
What was your question again?
So can you just clarify for the parent body that how the voting, how a CEC voting is coming along? Like how can, if I have I'll give you an example so that it's more clarifying. If I have 3 children, am I allowed to vote all the 3 times, or I'm only allowed to vote 1 time because I'm one parent? And if I am married versus I am single versus I'm divorced, how are the couples voting if they have 3 children?
So it is, think of it as the student, not as the parent. Think of it as the student. 1 child, 1 vote. So if you have a child who is on, like in the example, Nia had a student in high school. So she can run and vote for high school. She had a child who was in a CCSE program. She can run and vote for CCSE, and if we're just going to say it's in CEC 14. She can run and vote for that position. The vote is based on the child. 1 vote per child. If you have 5 children and they're in 5 schools, you have 5 votes. If you have 5 children in the CEC and they're in the same school or they're in different schools, you have 5 votes. It's by the child.
So husband and wife, we both have 5 votes?
Not each.
Right.
Between you two.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Just it's easy to think of it as the child, not as the parent.
So
right.
both,
So that's
both,
the difference.
both husband and wife, if they're divorced, they would have to agree on their vote.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. When it gets into that, or like when it gets into that, that's, there are some things where we have parents who are not together. They're still custodial parents, or you have one who's custodial, one who's a non-custodial. There are specific rules for that in ATS. I think Danielle could probably answer that more than I could, because that's on
custodial. But is that what they're saying, that it's the custodial parent gets the vote?
I can be divorced, but legally we both can have custody of the children, right? We can have
where the child lives is the custodial parent. So when we talk about rights of parents, both children have rights to academic, to students' academic records. They both have the same rights to teachers. They both have, but when it comes to
like a physical custody,
having a custodial parent, it is with whom the person resides with. And then if there's a split, which sometimes happens, it's where they spend most of their time.
Okay. So for CEC, it's by so if I'm running for a PTA, and if there is a husband and wife, both, and we have 2 children, we both can give 1 vote each. It's by the parent, but for CEC, it's by the child.
I know for CECs, it's based on the child. And you'll see this once you sign up and you go into NICSA. You'll see that only one parent can vote. Now, the DOE cannot determine which parent. If you're 2 custodial parents, like, they don't determine which parent can vote. That's something that, it's a decision is made, on the family level, not on the DOE level.
Okay, so these are the questions that parents are asking, so to make it clear, because soon they will start understanding. So if you go on a NICSA, when one parent votes, it automatically disables for the other parent because that child is linked to that parent, right? There is a way for it to get disabled, so the other parent cannot go behind and vote. Okay.
So let me give you the other part of it. If you both can run, can run.
Right.
Only one can be seated. You both can run, but only one parent can be seated for a CEC election. I know I just threw a monkey wrench in that because everybody is quiet.
No, I'm sorry. My child was there. They're fighting, so I kind of got distracted. I'm sorry.
So if you think of it as the student, right? Both parents can run. Only one parent can be seated as a candidate.
Right.
There's only 1 vote per student. That's it. You both can't vote to vote for other candidates. Only one can vote.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of complicated.
I think that answers a lot, Pamela. Thank you so much. If
You're
we have
welcome.
any
Thank you, Pamela,
further,
for
we'll
being
reach
here.
out to Esther. Yeah.
And
Thank
we'll
you.
see you Friday, Pamela.
Okay, so let's moving along the agenda.
Esther.
All right, bye-bye. Thank you.
I kind of went over virtual fundraising and programming. So we have some parent
want
leaders tonight speaking about virtual fundraising. Christine, I know that you're doing something in 194, a scavenger hunt. If you want to just talk a little bit about that. We just want to give parents ideas of what schools are doing and maybe inspire you to do the same or to do something else along the lines. Christine?
Hi. So it's not a fundraiser, it's actually a give back. In the past years, I've always wanted to do something that entails like family fun night, right? Because we're middle school. You know, it's unfortunate, but like a lot of parents, once your kids get to middle school, they think, I'm done. I don't have to do anything anymore. So it's quite different in this era. A lot of the things that we do, like just touching base on what we were saying before, our school does reach out to the teachers. So when you were talking about programming and things like that, we actually our PTA gives our school a grant so that we can hire our teachers to do after school activities. And that's this year alone, it's coding, art, it's a lot of different things. But in particular, the scavenger hunt. Can I share my screen real quick? Can I do that? Let me see.
Hold on, let me.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Oh, host disabled.
No, I made you host, didn't it? Aren't you host?
It says
Hold on, let me try again.
host disabled
I need all three
participant
of you.
screen sharing.
All right, there you go.
All right, so I wasn't prepared for this. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm going to show you my email, and there's a mini video on it. So hold on. Did it work?
There you
All right, excuse all my things. So on the scavenger hunt, it's called Watson Adventures Virtual Events. One of the things that I really liked about it is that it's family oriented. So your whole family can get together and do this. So kind of like an assembly, they take it over and they run it and they do their thing. There's different ones where they have like Forgery Mystery, Escape to the Museum, Wizard School, which is the one that we ended up choosing, Escape to New York Scavenger Hunt, and Escape to the Museum. Again, Escape to the History Museum, Go to Canada Virtual. So they have a lot of different ones around the world, things like that. And how I did this was I first reached out to my executive board. Then we agreed that this is something that we wanted to do. I brought it up to the principal. Then I brought it up at SLT so that I can get both the teachers and the parents in to see what they thought about it. After that, I had it voted on a general meeting since it is a give back as well. And then we invited all the families, including teachers' families as well. So I'm gonna put on this mini video right here to see if you guys are. Can you guys still see?
Yes.
Okay. Here it goes.
There's no sound, Christine.
What?
There's no sound.
All right, so sorry. Let me try. Sorry, guys. I think it's because it's not on my regular screen. So I'm gonna do a new share. Bear with me a couple of seconds. Where are you guys?
Word. So creative.
Let me see my screens at work. What is this? Guys, I'm having technical difficulties. I can't see the rest of you.
Yeah, you can. So you ask us or anything will help. When you're presenting, it's hard.
Yeah. I'll move you guys over here. How often does this happen, huh? Meetings of 2021. Let's try this again. Now, do you guys see it?
Yes.
Yes? Do you see the bird again?
Yes.
Okay. And you can hear me. Hold on. All right. So I'm gonna. Can you hear it? You don't hear Chad?
No. Am I the only one? Or Francis, can you hear? Can anybody hear?
We're not hearing anything.
Yeah.
Shoot. Does anybody want to try this?
When
Maybe,
you
I
share
don't
your
know.
screen, you have to share the audio as well.
Is the volume on the video on that video?
Yeah, I can hear it. That's why.
Oh, you could. hear-
Yeah, I can hear it, like, and it's loud. So, how else can I do this? I need help.
Anika, let's go.
Have a microphone? Do you have headset plugged in, Christine?
No, I don't have headset plugged in or anything like that. Does anybody else want to try to share this? It's just a link.
Do you want to give it to me? Let me try.
Yeah, I'm gonna post it on the thing.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Francis,
Somebody else
you want to
share.
do it? What do you
I'm
want?
sorry. I gotta play around with that then.
I'm gonna try.
Why don't you post the link on the chat? Then everybody
Yeah,
else
it's there.
can see on the web browser, and then after can come back.
Yeah. It's on there already. I wonder what it is. Did you guys get the link? Oh, I lost it again.
Yeah. There's link there. You posted it. I got it.
Okay.
She will be on a team of some other people joining us from their own computer.
Now we can hear it.
The game we'll be playing is Escape to the Museum Virtual Scavenger Hunt for Kids, in which teams visit museums from all over the world, follow clues to find some art, and then answer questions about what they see and what they learn. Now, all of the players have joined us today using Zoom, but we can also use your own favorite conferencing platform. Now, as you can see from Rachel's screen, I've asked all of the players to open up a browser window and go to that URL play.watsonadventures.com to access our app. I've also had the players read the rules in the app and stop when they get to that toucan, which is where we are now. Have you all read the rules? Yes. Yes. You see the toucan? Yes. Okay, great. To start the game, I'm going to send you to your own breakout rooms. This is your own private room where you can work collectively without being seen or heard by the other teams, right? It's pretty cool. All right, click on that toucan and off you go. We're going to start
now. So I'm going to click on the toucan and start the timer. Hi, Vivian. Hi, Sean. Hi. We're missing Ryan and Eileen. Hi, guys. Hi. Okay, so everyone's clicked on the toucan and we have the screen that says your hunt. We're going to click on questions. Okay. And let's tackle the first question. The first stop is the Milwaukee Public Museum. People say you can keep the doctor away if you have a blank every day. Anyone? It's an apple. Apple a day keeps the doctor away. Right. All right. So take a stroll along the streets of Milwaukee. This looks like it's a link. So let's go ahead and open that up. And I am on the streets of Old Milwaukee. Okay. Look closely at the gallery on this page to find a bunch of those things that fill in the blank. So we're looking for apples. That's a big.
Should I fast forward or to a certain spot or?
You could even just stop it, but I think everybody gets the idea of what they do.
Yeah, I'm just
Pretty much, and what I like, what we liked about this, right? One of the members on my board had brought it up that she tried it and they really enjoyed it. What I did like, I used this opportunity to get, like again, I said, all the families involved, meaning the teachers' families, the staff too, as well as our kids, because we wanted it to be like a school community kind of thing. we're also thinking of planning a game night, working together, parents and teachers working together to do a game night for our school. So it will be something similar. We're going to try to coordinate to see, you know, like what games we're going to be able to play, and then do breakout rooms and just the adults with the kids. You can partner up, you know, things like that. So there are things that you can do without money, with money.
Absolutely. And it looks good. It looks like fun, a lot of trivia questions. So thank you, Christine, for sharing. At this time, I'm going to put on Deborah Ferrara, who is our PTA president in our school. And we actually started a silent auction, which she's going to talk to you about. And you're on, Deborah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. I just want to share my screen too, so I can show the website if that's possible.
Let me see. I can't make you, Esther, can you make Deborah a host or a co-host? Esther? Is that, yeah, Esther's here.
Hold on, I'm trying to get it to her. Hold on a second. It's not letting me make her. Hold on a second. It's not letting me make her a co-host.
Who's the host?
Does she have a DOE?
Oh, you know
email,
what?
maybe? Is that what it is?
No,
We have too many, that's why.
You know what it is that Christine is the host. Christine, you have to make her co-host.
Oh,
Deborah.
shoot.
Oh, because
Deborah Ferrara.
Okay.
Thank you.
Co-host or host?
Co-host.
Matter? Okay.
Yeah. And you
Got
can
it
make
too? Good.
Yeah.
Okay, can everyone see online auction fundraiser?
Yes.
Okay, great. So every year we normally have a Halloween dance where we sell tickets, we sell pizza, and we weren't able to do that this year, obviously. One of the parts of the Halloween dance is a big raffle. Last year we profited $10,000 on our raffle alone. So we're trying to mimic that in the online world. So we found this website, 32 Auctions. They have all different packages, but you can even do it free. We only had to pay $40 because we could use all of the free functions of the website, and we only needed the $40 to add more than 20 items. Other than that, everything is 100% free. And they do all online auctions. They handle the bidding. It's so easy. I'm going to walk you through it really, really quickly. So this is a picture of the baskets and the raffles that we accumulated. We made an Amazon wish list, and we sent it to all of our families and teachers, and anybody who wanted to donate was able to buy an item, and it was shipped directly to my home. The address was hidden on the Amazon wish list. So we created baskets. We asked for gift cards. We asked for, I could probably show you that'll be easier. We had all different types of things. So we did a arts and crafts. We did a COVID basket, back to school, game night. And in addition to that, we asked the community for donations. We received an iPad. We received an iPad, and we received tons of gift cards. We got New York State Test Prep from Reading Town Flushing to donate courses to us. And I will click on the iPad, for example. So what we're doing, basically, it went live today, and the parents will get the link tomorrow. So let me just move my screen over so I can see what I'm doing. So basically, the site calculates it for you. So we said that the iPad was worth $350, and we would start the bids at $75. Increments would be $5. And now when the parents get the link, they can pay through PayPal or Visa. It'll run for 2 weeks. They can have fun. They can joke around with their friends. They can try to outbid one another. And our goal is to hopefully make some money. There was, we want to make $10,000 off of this, like the Halloween dance, but I don't think we're going to be that successful. We'll see though. There was an option to put all the donors. I'm trying to find that, that's not important. So when it goes live with the parents, I'll be able to see a little bit more, but supposedly we can make on each thing, it's unlimited. So if somebody really wants this iPad and there's a bidding war going on, it can go over the $350, or nobody could bid on it, and then that one person would win it for $75. And since the entire auction only costs us $40, everything that we make would be found money. And this is a really awesome site. It's very user friendly. I would really recommend it if you have the ability to do something like this. I was surprised at how easy it was. Getting the donations was the hardest part, but the Amazon wish list worked like a charm. We got over 300 items from families delivered to my house. I don't know, Francis, am I missing anything important?
I think that was, that's good. And that was just, you know, us as a PTA just collaborating and just thinking outside the box and thinking of different ways to do something. And we'll keep you posted on how it went, but so far it's going very well. So Deborah, thank you for leading this, and thank you
Can
for.
I ask a question? Sorry. How are they giving the money back to the PTA? How are you guys getting that money?
So through the website, we'll get the final bid. So take the iPad, for example. Let's say 3 or 4 people bid on it, and then the day the auction ends, February 4th at midnight, whoever had the highest bid wins. They'll then receive an invoice directly from 32 auctions, and I'll receive it as well. There's a whole admin section with tons of reports, and I mean, it's very, very organized. So what'll happen is they'll get an invoice, I'll get an invoice, and then I will contact that parent if they don't contact us first because they're excited because they want it, and they can pay through a credit card through the website, or it's also linked to our PTA PayPal account. And obviously we won't make arrangements to drop anything off with anyone until we've received payment. It's basically an auction online.
And this is a perfect example to do something virtually, fundraising for your school. Of course, to make the baskets, you need someone to put them together, but then you can do that and take safety precautions.
Yes, which is what we actually did yesterday. It took us about 5 hours and we worked in shifts. I have a very big finished basement. I have 2 rooms down there. We put 2 people in each room at a time. My kids are screaming. I hope you don't hear them. 2 people in a room. We wore masks the whole time. We were very, very safe. We didn't go over 4 people in a space at any time.
Look, I thought this was a silent auction. I'm only kidding.
No, well, that's the other thing. You can have the option to, you could see people's names, or you could leave it as a bidder number. Everyone gets assigned a number. So I'll show you the participant list. So for now, only PTA is signed up because we haven't sent the flyer through our principal yet. So you could have either see these numbers here, 100, 102, 103. But we decided to leave the names. We thought that would be more fun. That was actually, I have to say, this whole idea actually came from our principal. I was brainstorming with her one day. She was like, why don't you just do an auction? And I was like, okay. So I said auction to my board, and the next day I had an auction. That's how awesome we are.
Does anybody have any questions before Deborah finishes? Anyone?
If anybody does decide that they want to try something like this out, I'm available 24/7 to talk one-on-one, help you. I can share what we did. I can also sit down with you and go through the website, you know, page by page, if it is something that you're interested in trying.
Yes,
Like
and
I said, the hardest part was really getting the donations, but the Amazon wish list, which was Francis's idea, might I add, worked amazing because our parents are used to donating for the raffles, for the Halloween dance. This was just an Amazon wish list as opposed to sending it into school.
And I put the website 32auctions.com in there. And I'm sure there's other sites, but that's just the one that we're familiar with. So
Right. I picked them because even if we needed a full package with tons of options, it would have been about $230 total. And we, like I said, we only needed the one extra feature to have the extra items. And also, I just want to add, so the transaction fees, so we pay a PayPal fee and then we pay a small fee to 32 auctions. That's how they make their money. So basically on every $100, we pay $7 in fees. So we're making $93 on every $100 we make.
So what is the projected, do we have a projected of what we will make? Because most of this was all donations. We didn't really have to buy anything.
We bought nothing.
So what is the projected, I guess, for proceeds?
If everyone bids and it maxes out on the bids, let me go back to the list really quick, just so you can see how we did some of it. We'll make about $3,000.
Nice.
Yes, very nice. So I'll show you more specifically. So like our which one is this? Arts and crafts basket. So we valued it at $110. We're starting the bids at $30, and this is everything that is included. Let me move my screen over. I apologize. So this is everything that was included: a $50 Coco Crafty gift certificate, which was donated. She makes homemade goods, a $10 Amazon gift card, crayons, wall decals, Crayola inspiration case, an ornament maker. And we did that for each item. So what we decided to start the first bid, we did that 25% of the basket value. So this one in particular was $30 because 25% of $110 was $30.
Well, we'll keep you guys posted on this, but it was definitely more of the planning. And now I guess now it's getting a little easier. And this is
Yeah.
just, we're just trying to give you different ideas, and I'm sure you, hopefully you get inspired and do something else, and then, you know, come back and share that with us. But this is the kind of world that right now we want to kind of stick to, is the virtual, and still be able to give our school the support it needs virtually. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you so much. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you, Deborah.
So
Thank you,
it's
Thank you.
8:57. So we went over. If no one has any other questions,
I have an announcement if I'm okay to share.
yes.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to go ahead. If any parent here, as you know, the parent chats in District 25, all our schools are having them, but at the district level, Jinmei and I also have to have a parent chat. We already had one in English. We're setting up for the second one, but we also need to conduct a Spanish and Chinese parent chat. So if you are a parent here that speaks Spanish and would like to be part of the District 25 parent chat, please email me. If you're a parent here that speaks Chinese and want to be part of the Chinese parent chat, the district parent chat, please email me, and Jinmei and I will get back to you with the date and time of that parent chat at the district level. We only have 3 parents each, and we would like to get more parents involved. So if you guys speak Spanish or English and want to be part of the District 25, please email me. Thank you so much.
Okay. Someone asked, Annie asked, what dialect for the Chinese group, Esther?
Well, the thing is that Jinmei speaks both Mandarin and Cantonese. So right now we have 2 2 Mandarin speaking, but whatever you speak, we'll take you, because remember, we're going to have more than one.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, the time is 8:59, and I'm going to say this meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much for being a parent leader that you are. And any questions, just email us. I put the email, our email in the parent chat.
And also, I had the sign-in sheet. If you do not see that, you can always go to our district website under the President Council section, and please do sign in for today's meeting.
And our email is d25pc1@gmail.com. So thank you,
Thanks,
everyone, and
everyone.
have a
Good
great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love
Good
your
night.
hair, Danielle.
Oh,
She has a pen in the back.
that's right.
Cool. I can never do it. I
Well
tried.
done.
Everyone for being here. Thank you. If there's no more questions, we'll go ahead and, is it okay for me to stop the recording?
Yes, please. Meeting ended, right? 9, 8.
Okay, good night, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Good night.
Good night.
See you next month.
See ya.